Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Alundra. On the previous episode, we finally beat up Chancellor Ronan, paid him back for all the pain that he's visited in the villages of this town by having them worship Melzus, and after that we finally got the clue as to where the 7th crest is located, so we're headed to Nava's house to see if we can get it from him. Now you'll notice that I didn't refill my health or my magic since the previous boss fights, but it's not really necessary for this next dungeon. There's not a lot of combat, and we definitely won't need to use our magic spells, so it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, I just did it because I forgot, but I'm just warning you in advance, this is not a very combat-heavy dungeon, and it's pretty easy to fill up your health. So we're going to go to Nava's house, and it turns out he's not there, but there's this new staircase in the back of his home, which we can take to Nava's keep. This is a pretty easy, sort of intermediary area that leads us to the next dungeon. Not my favorite dungeon in the world, but it's got an interesting gimmick that we haven't seen in the game so far. So yeah, we've got some slimes to kill here, not too difficult. We can kill them in one hit now that we have the best sword in the game, and they will drop a little bit of health, so it's a pretty good venue at this point to refill, in case you are like me and you did forget to refill after beating Ronan. And pick up a few guilders, not that we need it, since again we're totally maxed out. So let's go in this door here, and this takes us to the Undersea caves. Now you'll notice we can't go back, and the only thing we've got is this small room with 4 of these big bugs, which only do 1 point of damage to us now that we have the silver armor, and 3 exits. The gimmick to this dungeon is that there are 13 rooms. This room, 11 other rooms, and an exit. And you can't really do anything here until you reach the exit. Each room has these three exits, and they sort of randomly loop in on one another. I mean, the exits always correspond to the same rooms, so you can always follow the same path once you understand how they connect. But it gets a little confusing, and you can't really proceed until you make it to the final room in the first place. So I'm going to show you one by one. So the fastest way to get from the entrance to the exit, and then once you get to the exit, the fastest way to navigate the dungeon to complete it. There is actually a path that leads from the opening through every single room in the dungeon without repeating, and I'll try to show you that, but as it turns out, when I tried to record this, I missed one room in the chain, and I actually wound up having to go back and get it. So there will be a little editing. So yeah, here we are at the exit. If we look at this door, it'll tell you must first cast light into each chamber, which, I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out what you're supposed to do now that you've actually activated the puzzle, and you can go ahead and repeat going through the rooms again. We're going to go back to the first room, and you can see that there's a switch, which obviously corresponds to the 12 switches that we saw in the exit room. We're going to have to go to every single room in the dungeon and activate these spheres when we see them. Now, of course, this means that if you don't have a really good idea of how the dungeon loops back in on itself and how the rooms interconnect, it's awfully easy to wind up in a situation where you've activated 10 or 11 of the spheres and you're missing one and you just have no idea how to get there. So, I mean, I guess that's my only real complaint about this dungeon, is that there's no reason to it. It's just a bunch of arbitrary exploration. The puzzles aren't very difficult, the combat isn't very difficult. You can see that I've already picked up enough health pickups to be totally full by now, especially if you have the best armor in the game. So, I mean, this is basically just going to be a tour. Now this is probably the most difficult room in the entire dungeon. You can see it's one of Alundra's signature jumping puzzles, and I mean, I'm going to leave out about 5 minutes of me failing to make this jump over and over and over and over again. I'm going to show it to you a couple of times. You're supposed to go up here in the corner and then down and then diagonal, but diagonal jumps are basically the most difficult type in the game because of the way the perspective works, and you really have to launch yourself off from the corner. So yeah, at some point, I am just going to cut out a few minutes of me attempting to do this. Yeah, there we go. All right, I am 1 or 2 attempts away from actually managing to get there. Yeah, still haven't quite gotten there. I don't know if it's clear in sort of the way I'm playing right now. The fact that I move faster and faster to each successive iteration of jumping, a little bit more frustrated every time I try. But yeah, see, that's me sort of fist pumping to myself, that little pause there, because I finally managed to get it. After that, it's just a matter of, well, like I said, that's probably the most difficult puzzle in the game. This one's also kind of tricky, just because you have to get a barrel over to that upper right-hand corner without getting hit by the fish. They can knock the barrel out of your hands while you're walking around, so it's best if you kill them first before you do anything else. You have to deal with the kind of unusual swimming controls where Alundra can only move in one direction at a time when you hit the swim button. So yeah, we want to jump over here, and again, it's difficult to go back in this dungeon. So you can wind up in a lot of trouble if you accidentally walk a little bit too far into the water and drop the barrel. But otherwise, this isn't too difficult. I think what you're supposed to do is actually jump drop the barrel and jump to the switch, but it's also, I found the solution to be easier just to throw the barrel onto the switch. And now if I can get onto, yeah, there we go. If we get to this platform, we can move to this new area. Now, I mean, that was pretty easy. You just walk into the hidden passage, which is clearly indicated on the wall, and then you activate the switch. See, I told you these are really simple. Other than a little bit of platforming, there's not too much to this dungeon other than learning how to map it out. See, there's a barrel there, which ostensibly you would think you had to solve a puzzle, but you don't have to do it. But you don't really have to do anything with it at all. You just have to get it out of the way. It's easy. It's too easy for this point in the game. I realize that there's, incentive to giving the player some breather episodes after the really heavy stuff that we've seen before, but this, I think, tips the balance of the scales a little bit too far in the other direction for my tastes. It makes the game feel a little uneven. You know, just kill these guys that we saw in the Magiscar dungeon, I suppose about 20 episodes ago at this point. This one, again, there's very obvious hidden passages, so you can follow it to the corner here. As you can imagine, as you'd expect from a puzzle of this nature, the one that you actually have to enter to get to the switch is the one that's furthest away from the switch itself. The chest is just some herbs. I'm not going to show that on camera. It's very easy to get to. And of course, we're full up on her herbs now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This is one of the rooms where you have to kill everything in the room. It should be pretty easy should be pretty obvious that that's what you have to do, since there's literally nothing else in the room other than the fish, and the switch isn't immediately accessible, so we can jump over and hit it, and move to the next room. The pauses in this video are me trying to figure out exactly which room I'm supposed to go into, because the map is... Well, as you can imagine, for a dungeon like this, the map is not easy to read, since each of these rooms connect to at least 3 other rooms. And as it turns out, I believe that was actually where I missed one room in the chain. My first pass, I got 11 of the 12 rooms. One of these, underneath one of these stone tablets, you can find the switch. I believe it's the one on the upper left. Yeah, there we go. Annoyingly, you cannot activate it with a bomb itself. I was actually a little worried that there might be a pit in there or something along those lines, so I didn't want to jump down there, but it turned out that's exactly what you're supposed to do, and that you can use the switch to get back out again. And now once again, we know that this, from the path that took us to the exit, we know this upper exit here very rapidly leads you to the 13th room, the exit room that we need to get to. So there's a decent chance that we're supposed to be going, and it is. So this chest here contains the 49th Gilded Falcon. Again, here at the end of the game, the Gilded Falcons and the life vessels are not very difficult to find, because again, that isn't really the focal point of the game. If you've missed one at this point... Oh yeah, see, there you go. I missed one of the orbs, so I'm just going to show you where it was supposed to go in the chain. The first thing I'm going to do is go back to that one room where we have to kill the 3 fish to allow us to activate the spherical switch, and then go in the left room in the bombing room, and that will take us to this one. This is actually another vote, another puzzle I would vote for the hardest one in the game, just because you only have one shot to do it. Once you've missed that jump, you can only go into the lowest of the doors, which means you have to get all the way back to that room again. It's kind of annoying, but thankfully I got it on the first try. And now we can go ahead and head back to the final room and see if we can get to Nava. I'm just going to show you that path directly because I've obviously already cleared these puzzles. There we go. So we are now out of the Undersea caves, and you'll notice we didn't pick up the life vessel. That's because it's right outside here. We're on a little island in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know if this is technically on the overworld map. Let's go ahead and clear out this brush and use a spring bean to get up on this upper cliff here. And this happens to be where the 49th life vessel is located. There's only one more of each of the Gilded Falcons and the life vessels left in the game, and we'll pick them both up in the final dungeon shortly. Let's go ahead and show off the save room. And we're about to partake in what I find to be the longest boss fight in the game. Part of it is because we don't have maximum magic yet, so we don't have a maximal ability to just spam spells, but it's also just because this boss has a ridiculous amount of health, even compared to the will to fight. So get ready, we're going to be here for a while. This is Nava's house. You'll notice there's a chest there on the left, but we can get that right now. And in fact, we want to, because it contains, wait a minute now, the Wind Book, the final magic spell in the game. And this is actually really useful against this upcoming boss fight. And who's the boss fight? Well, it actually shouldn't be too difficult to figure out if you just take into account who we haven't killed yet besides Melzus. Let's go see Nava's other house, his home away from home. He's not looking so great. Yeah. Zoria, the same disciple who killed Nerud, is now up in Nava's face. Nava gives us the Zola stone. This is kind of weird. We get two key items, immediately, in very quick succession, which I thought was kind of weird the way they did this. You get the Zola stone, which is nothing except that you put it on the shelf behind you, and then you get the 7th crest. I don't know why they don't just give you the 7th crest. What a waste of time. So here, Nava, obviously we know Nava and Cephas have been watching over Melzis' prison in the lake castle for the last several hundred years. And we get a little bit more backstory about why the king of this country, not that we've ever actually met him or will meet him, how he became aware of Melzis and why he put the order out to destroy all the idols to stop everybody from worshipping him in the first place. Yep, apparently this happened 300 years ago too, so as they said in Secret of Mana, time flows like a river, and history repeats. And thankfully the king was sensitive enough to see in his dreams what Melzis was about to do to the world, and what we know he's doing to the world, what he's doing to the world right now, as he's touching the world once again. And again, forbid everybody to worship him. Yeah, it does also explain why the Murg were so easily turned to Melzis' side, because they were already murderous animals. They were that way naturally. They weren't just like nice monkeys that happened to be corrupted by Melzis. But now we've got Zoria. I mean, Zoria obviously looks like a demon. It's obviously evil. I wonder if he looked like this when he was working for Nerud too. And see, this guy is just a jerk. Sinful bloodshed. Forced death. That's murder. I don't know, it just didn't really fit in with the other things that he mentioned. Forced death. Yes, that's killing. Just one more, I don't know, like, we met Zoria, he killed Nerud. We don't really need all this extra stuff to make us hate him even more. He's just like so obviously evil that it's over the top a little. I don't know. But I suppose the fact that he attacked Nava sort of gets the player pumped to take him on now. So let's go ahead and equip the Wind Book. As usual, I'm going to try not to only spam magic to kill this guy, but he has, as I said, a ridiculous amount of health, so maybe that was a better idea. So if you use the wind magic, it is probably the best magic to use to fight Zoria, because while he's flying, the whirlwind actually draws him in, so that is kind of what you want to use. Otherwise, when you're not using magic, you want to use the Willow Bow, because like a lot of the late game bosses, everything does exactly 1 point of damage to Zoria, and he has 90 HP, so you might as well just use the weapon with the longest range. This is going to take a while, because 90 HP is a lot. The wind magic did cut a lot off his health meter, but not enough to make this easy. Most of the fight is going to be spent dodging these little discs, and there's only 2 right now, and they do disappear after a while. But I think I've seen as many as 4 chasing us at the same time. His other attacks are this meteor shower, which, again, since you're running around trying to avoid him anyway, isn't too difficult to dodge against him. And he's got that other attack where he shoots the flame bars up from the ground. And that can do about 7 points of damage, but it's pretty heavily telegraphed, so it's not too difficult to dodge. The discs only do about 2 points of damage, but since there's so many of them, it's really easy to get hit with them incidentally. And Zoria is only vulnerable when he hits the ground, so considering most players would want to take advantage of every opportunity to hit Zoria that they get, it's really easy to get hit either with him face-to-face or with the discs while you're running around trying to get an opportune position to actually hit him. It's really easy to take a lot of incidental damage in this fight, even if you're really good at dodging his actual magic attacks. You see, I'm apparently not good at dodging his magic attacks. This is the only fight in the game where I actually had to use the health revival items, because I figured this is the one situation where it was okay, and I since I was going to the final dungeon anyway, and that was the only thing left, I might as well take some time to top off my healing items at Lurby's shop regardless. Plus, I still haven't activated all the teleport archways, and I don't believe I actually do so in this playthrough, at least not completely. But I figured that would have been a good opportunity to at least look for some of the ones I was missing. Not that I managed to find them. A bit of a spoiler alert. So, I mean, I tried to do that off camera anyway. So yeah, you're gonna have to listen to the low health warning for this little while. Yeah, he picks things up there. There's 2 patterns to the flame bar attack. One is a cross and one is an X. And I guess I just got a little mixed up, expecting only the cross pattern. So yeah, for the next 3 minutes or so, I'm going to be chasing this guy around, kiting him, trying not to die too soon, trying to hit him 90 or whatever, 50 or whatever times I have remaining before I run out of health potions. Not that that's in danger of happening, since I do have a maximum inventory right about now. But yeah, this was the other fight I was thinking of besides Wilda. When I mentioned during the Wilda fight that Working Designs had actually rebalanced several of the fights to not just be you going toe-to-toe with the boss for hours while he can do very little damage to you. Because he only does 2 points of damage with his attacks, except for the magic attacks, which are easy to dodge. And he takes 90 hits by himself, which seems absurd. But I suppose since he is supposed to be Mills' second-in-command, maybe they just really wanted to leave it as is, so that you had an epic boss fight against Mills' right-hand man. I mean, this is the same company that gave the final boss of Arclad 2 13,000 hit points, when nothing else in the game had more than 1,000. That was a beating, let me tell you. They said in the strategy guide when I played that game, when I was the Working Designs published strategy guide, that the only reason they gave the boss 9,999 hit points was because that was literally the highest the HP meter could go. So they figured the last boss should have that much. So again, maybe they didn't really want to rebalance Zoria. I can see it go either way. I mean, Working Designs is closed now, so I'm not about to email their business offices and try to find out why they made this such a chore. If I had more of an audience, this would almost be the point where I want to ask for someone to keep a hit counter, so I could just be loosely aware of how long this fight was actually taking and how much I had left, or how much I was taken up by the magic spells themselves. It should be noted that there actually is one other attack that does more than 1 point of damage, which is the charged attack of the Holy Sword. It does 2 and 3 if you have the attack up ring equipped. So that is one other way to make the fight last go a little bit faster, but you can get knocked out of the charge attack if you get hit by the discs. So I'm not sure if it's the smartest strategy to bank on that, and it also makes you more vulnerable to getting hit by him when he lands on you. So yeah, we're down to 4 HP, which is below the threshold where we can get killed by his magic attack. So I'm going to go ahead and equip the Wonder Essence, which does work like a fairy does in the Zelda game. If you get killed or reduces 0 HP while you have one equipped, it will automatically heal you to full. So now that we've done that, now that I've gone ahead and wasted my Wonder Essence, I might as well just use magic to finish the fight off. So yeah, I would assume this fight would take about 12 to 13 minutes to do, honestly, if you didn't use magic. And he doesn't get much of a death scene there. He just goes, "Rawr," dies. Or at least we get teleported back to Nava's house. It is pretty humiliating, I guess. Yeah, Nava doesn't have a lot to say. He just kind of goes. It's nice of him to hang on until we got back from the boss fight. But all is not lost because Nava was a guardian, just like all the other crest guardians that we've met in the past. And just like them, he has a ghost form. And he also follows the naming convention, you'll note. He has a very short name, just like everybody else, Uma and Lars and all the others. But now we're set. We've got the 7th crest, and it's about time to take the fight to Melzes himself. We have literally no loose ends other than the teleport archways remaining in the game. So let's go ahead and take that diamond crest and open up the path to the Lake Shrine, and take him down once and for all. So we will do that now that we've been returned to Nava's place on the next episode of Let's Play Alundra. We will begin the final ascent. I will see you then, and cheers!